Let's read and analyze a story by Eduardo Galeano. I'll read the story out loud, you follow along, and then I'll explain some of the little things I see in the story, and I'm going to ask you to tell me what the big idea is. Here's the story. It happened at the entrance to the town of Ajotayambo, near Cusco. I had detached myself from a group of tourists and was standing alone, looking at the stone ruins in the distance, when a small boy from the neighborhood, skinny and ragged, came over to ask if I would give him a pen. I couldn't give him my pen because I was using it to write down all sorts of boring notes. But I offered to draw a little pig for him on his hand. Suddenly, the word got around. I was surrounded by a throng of little boys demanding at the top of their lungs that I draw animals on their little hands cracked by the dirt and cold, their skin of burnt leather. One wanted a condor, and one a snake. Others preferred little parrots and owls, and some asked for a ghost or a dragon. Then, in the middle of this racket, a little waif who barely cleared a yard off the ground showed me a watch drawn in black ink on his wrist. An uncle of mine who lives in Lima sent it to me, he said. And does it keep good time? I asked him. It's a bit slow, he admitted. That is the story. Now, let's see if we can analyze it, figure out what the story's telling us. One of the things we look for in a story is the setting. And the setting is the time and the place that the story happens. The time seems to be now. They're tourists on a bus going somewhere. The place is important for this story, and we have some clues. We have 3 place names. Ajotayambo, which I don't know how to pronounce correctly, and Cusco, and Lima. Cusco and Lima are the 2 important ones. This is Peru. Lima is the capital of Peru, and Cusco is where there are the very famous ruins of Machu Picchu. Cusco is far away from Lima and up in the mountains where the Inca people live. That's the setting, and then we look for main characters. Who are the important people in this story? One is Galeano, the person telling the story. He seems to be a special person. He is not a tourist. He did not come to Machu Picchu to take Instagram photos. He came to take notes and to learn. The other characters are a group of boys, local children. Galeano doesn't say who they are directly, but his description is very telling. They are skinny, ragged. Their hands are dirty and cold and sunburnt. What kind of people is he describing? He's showing that they are poor, and in the context of the story, we can know they are Inca, Indians. Sadly, in the context of the human heart, being poor and a minority usually means people think you are stupid and bad. We see that in the conflict. The conflict is the next part of a story that people look for. The conflict is the problem between the main characters. In this story, the conflict is about respect. Can people who are different from each other respect each other? The little boys are begging. One of them wants a pen. Galeano cannot give the boy his pen, but he can draw a picture for the boy, and he does. Galeano draws a pig on the boy's hand. pig. What does Galiano think about this poor, uneducated Inca boy who lives way up in the mountains? That brings us to the climax. The climax is the moment the conflict comes out in the open, when the good guy fights the bad guy. Galiano doesn't ask the first boy what picture he wants. He just draws a pig on the boy's hand. But now the boy's friends come running. They want pictures too. But they get to say what kind of pictures they want. They tell Galiano they want parrots, snakes, dragons. One boy, the waif, even says no. He shows Galiano he already has a picture, which means no, I don't need you. I don't need your drawings. The little boy shows Galiano a picture of a watch, not an animal, but something fancy from the big city, from Lima. How will Galiano respond? Will he get angry? Will he laugh at the waif? No. Galiano asks the boy about his watch. He respects the boy's story. Does it keep good time? Does the watch work really well? The boy knows his watch isn't perfect, but it does okay. It's a little slow, he admits, and that is the end of the story. There are a couple of more pieces of the story to look at. Most importantly, the theme. What is the moral of the story? What lesson does it teach us? One way to find out is to think about who is the hero in the story. We have a fancy word for this, protagonist. The person who goes against the hero is the antagonist. Sometimes we call them the bad guy. It's a good guy versus the bad guy kinds of stories. Who is the protagonist in this story? I usually say it is Galiano, because it is his story. He is telling it. He is the I. He must be the hero. But my students are changing my mind. We mostly agree on the theme, the lesson we learned from the story, but we see a different teacher, a different hero. What do you think? Who is the good guy in this story? What good thing do they do? And what good thing do we learn?